What happens when a man turns an entire city's nightlife into a breeding ground for crime and terror? Necati Neco Arabaci's rise to power wasn't a story of ambition. It was a tale of exploitation, fear, and greed. Arabaci didn't just manage clubs, he used them as hubs for human trafficking, extortion, and violence, preying on the vulnerable to expand his criminal empire. His ruthless methods earned him power, but they also sealed his fate. The truth about his activities eventually caught up with him, leading to his arrest. However, Arabaci's story is a harsh reminder that power built on exploitation comes with a heavy price. The ugly truth behind the rise and arrest of Necati Arabaci. Necati Neco Arabaci didn't just rise to power in Cologne's nightlife. He built an empire that thrived on exploitation and violence, setting the stage for his eventual arrest. Born in 1972 to Turkish parents and raised in Cologne's tough neighborhoods, Arabaci was no stranger to hardship. Instead of working his way out, he embraced a life of crime, seeing it as his path to power. By the 1990s, he had solidified himself in the city's bouncer scene, a shadowy industry where intimidation and illegal dealings were common. Arabaci's reputation as a ruthless enforcer allowed him to climb the ranks, turning him into a kingpin who allegedly controlled numerous nightclubs and bars. These clubs were not ordinary nightlife spots. Behind the flashing lights and loud music lay the ugly truth. Arabaci used them as fronts for trafficking and exploitation. Women were reportedly promised jobs, only to be forced into prostitution, creating a human trafficking network that made Arabaci millions. Victims described the abuse and fear they experienced, painting a dark picture of his operations. Arabaci's empire extended far beyond Cologne, with alliances that strengthened his grip on the criminal underworld. His rise was built on brutality and manipulation, setting the stage for his eventual arrest. But even his capture would only scratch the surface of the dark and far-reaching influence he held over the world of organized crime. 2002. Clampdown. Arrest and charges. By 2002, Necati Arabaci had become a priority target for German authorities. His name was synonymous with the dark underside of Cologne's nightlife, where his operations reportedly included human trafficking, pimping, assault, extortion, weapon smuggling, and racketeering. After years of investigations, law enforcement finally had enough evidence to arrest him. His empire, once untouchable, began to crumble as the authorities cracked down on his operations and associates. The arrest made headlines across Germany. Police raided properties linked to Arabaci, uncovering evidence of his illegal activities. Statements by witnesses, surveillance operations, and financial records painted a shocking picture of a man deeply entrenched in the world of organized crime. Women who had been forced into prostitution bravely came forward, exposing the horrors they endured under his control. Arabaci's arrest temporarily disrupted his criminal enterprises, but it also highlighted the vast scope of his influence. Even in custody, he seemed confident, unshaken by the weight of the charges against him. This was a man who believed himself untouchable. The 2002 arrest was a victory for law enforcement, but it also exposed the extent of Arabaci's operations, raising questions about how he had evaded justice for so long. It was a dramatic turning point in his criminal career, though far from the end of his story. Confession and incarceration. The 2004 conviction. In 2004, Necati Arabaci's criminal empire faced a significant blow when he confessed to multiple charges during his trial. These included human trafficking, pimping, assault, extortion, and racketeering. The confession was shocking, as Arabaci had previously shown no regret for his crimes. His trial revealed the full extent of his operations, shedding light on a vast criminal network that had terrorized victims and generated millions in illegal profits. The court sentenced him to 9 years in prison, a punishment many saw as justice for the victims of his crimes. Yet the story didn't end there. Arabaci was released in 2007 after serving just 3 years of his sentence. The early release sparked outrage and confusion, with reports suggesting it was due to a combination of good behavior and legal technicalities. Many critics saw this as a failure of the justice system, arguing that Arabaci's early release allowed him to re-enter the criminal world. Even during his time in prison, Arabaci reportedly continued to control components of his criminal empire. The Colosseum brothel in Augsburg, one of his key operations, remained under his influence. His time in prison did little to derail his ambitions, proving that the justice system's efforts to stop him had only been a temporary setback. A sinister scheme. The Assassination Plot. Necati Arabaci's time in prison revealed just how dangerous and resourceful he could be. While serving his sentence, he allegedly masterminded a plot to assassinate the prosecutor handling his case. Reports suggest he hired an Albanian hitman for the job, believing this would eliminate one of his biggest obstacles. The plan, however, was uncovered when authorities uncovered communications detailing the assassination attempt. The discovery of this plot shocked both the public and law enforcement, exposing Arabaci's willingness to go to extreme lengths to maintain his power. The assassination plot highlighted the extent of Arabaci's influence even while behind bars. It also demonstrated his ability to manipulate criminal networks from within the prison system. Authorities took the threat seriously, raising up security measures to ensure the prosecutor's safety and prevent further attempts. The incident added another layer to the fame of Arabaci, solidifying his reputation as a dangerous and ruthless criminal. This unsuccessful strategy also reflected the broader challenges faced by law enforcement in dealing with organized crime. Arabaci's willingness to kill a prosecutor showed that he viewed the legal system as just another obstacle to overcome. Even in custody, his actions sent a clear message. His power and ambition knew no limits. Exile and ascendancy. Deportation to Turkey. After his early release from prison in 2007, Necati Arabaci was deported to Turkey, his parents' homeland. Many believed this would mark the end of his influence in Europe, but instead, it became a new chapter in his criminal career. Far from retiring, Arabaci quickly resumed his activities, this time under the banner of the Hells Angels. He rose to power within the organization, eventually becoming the president of the Hells Angels MC Nomads Turkey. Under Arabaci's leadership, the Turkish chapter of the Hells Angels expanded its operations, gaining influence in both legal and illegal enterprises. His popularity and reputation made him a respected figure within the biker gang, and he used this position to strengthen his network. Arabaci was particularly skilled at dealing with the blurred lines between crime and legitimate business, a strategy that allowed him to operate with relative impunity. In Turkey, he found a safe haven, as the country's laws and non-extradition policies for its citizens made it difficult for foreign authorities to pursue him. This move to Turkey demonstrated Arabaci's adaptability and strategic thinking. Despite being forced out of Germany, he managed to rebuild his empire, proving once again that he was a master at turning setbacks into opportunities. The digital dawn, social media presence. In recent years, Necati Arabaci has taken on a new role, a social media celebrity. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram have showcased a side of him that seems worlds apart from his criminal history. Videos of Arabaci showing off expensive car, designer clothes, and luxurious lifestyles have gone viral, attracting a large following. To many, he appears as a modern-day outlaw who overcame the odds to live life on his own terms. This portrayal has sparked controversy. Critics argue that his social media presence glamorizes criminal behavior, presenting Arabaci as a figure to admire rather than criticize. His followers, many of them young and impressionable, are drawn to his rebellious image and apparent success. This trend raises troubling questions about the role of social media in shaping public perceptions of crime and morality. Arabaci's online presence also highlights the growing intersection between crime and digital culture. For him, social media is not just a platform for self-promotion. It is a tool for maintaining influence and projecting power. By crafting an image of himself as a charming and untouchable figure, Arabaci continues to defy traditional narratives about justice and accountability, further complicating efforts to bring him to justice. Necati Arabaci's arrest may have slowed him down, but it didn't erase the damage he caused. His empire of crime left scars that outlived his control over Cologne's nightlife, haunting his victims and exposing the flaws in systems meant to stop criminals like him. Even in custody, Arabaci's influence lingered, a testament to the deep roots of his criminal network. The truth behind his arrest wasn't just about bringing a criminal to justice. It was a reminder of how far organized crime can spread when fueled by fear and exploitation. As long as his shadow looms, his tale serves as a chilling example of how one man's greed can shake an entire society.